Exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us on a Monday that was very active in the NFL. Obviously, the first day of legal tampering, as they call it. Not to be confused with illegal tampering, which was happening all the way up until noon Eastern. Because deals started getting agreed to 15 minutes after legal tampering began. So obviously a lot of these deals were agreed to in that 15-minute window. Not that we would have known about it because the world basically shut down today with Twitter not being on. Now, Denmark, you know how OCD I am. And admittedly, I am very OCD. What do you think it was like being around me when Twitter was not working on the first day of NFL free agency?
The movie 2012.
Oh, I was Woody Harrelson. That's exactly right. It was awful.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awful. My poor wife. I felt sorry. I was not in a good way because I got to have the info, man. I got to have the right at your fingertips. Elon, what are you doing? But thankfully, it got back up and running, and what a day it was for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, look, we're going to talk about it tonight. I know there are some people that are underwhelmed. I'm going to tell you why I really like what the Jaguars have done today. And maybe this is just the more glass half full positive Hacker than maybe I was in my younger years. Heck, most of you accused me of being super negative, just a year or two ago. But I like what James Gladstone, what Liam Cohen, what Tony Baselli did today. Keep in mind, guys, they got 21 draft picks over the next 2 years. 21 draft picks. Did you get some placeholders today? Yeah, you probably did. Got some veteran experienced guys, a 31-year-old safety, a 29-year-old nickel corner. I hear you. But I hear all the talk about the great splashes that were made with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, the great splashes that were made with, other guys that came in, Foye Oluokun, who's still here, Brandon Sheriff, right? You go last year to Eric Armstead and Gabe Davis and Darnell Savage and Mitch Morse and guys people know, recognizable names. And what did that get you, right, in the last 3 years? It got you one playoff win. So just pump the brakes. We'll get into it. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. Jamal St. of Channel 4 will join me coming up here in less than 15 minutes. We'll get Jamal's reaction to everything the Jaguars have done today. And then when you do this as long as I've done this, you just have guys, right, in NFL markets. Like Nick Harris is my guy in Dallas when it comes to the Cowboys. So we're going to have Nick Harris coming up to talk about not only Chuma Edoga, but also Jordan Lewis, right? I got another guy, Luke Jones, WNST Radio in Baltimore. We're going to get Luke on to talk about Patrick McCary. My guy with the Houston Texans is a legend in the sports media business, John McClain. So we're going to get John on to talk about Eric Murray and a couple other guys as well. So we're going to do a deep dive into a lot of these free agents tonight. We're going to have 4 or 5 different guys on from around the country, and that'll start coming up here in about 35 minutes or so. So it's all Jaguars all the time. We are with you till 10 o'clock tonight. As always, Jacksonville, we are glad you are spending part of your Monday evening with us. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal? No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
I sense a little bit of frustration about what the Jaguars did today, or in some instances did not do. They overhauled the roster. I mean, they signed 9 guys, probably 4 of which are going to be starters in some capacity. Keep in mind, they also have 10 draft picks. So if the free agents they signed today, and let's say 80% of the draft picks make the initial 53-man roster, that will be 18 new players, which would be that in and of itself, over a third of the roster will be new based on last year. Quite the overhaul for a team that was the best team in franchise history, right? Well, that was according to a general manager that's no longer here, and for good reason. Look, I get that people wanted Chris Godwin, and I get that people wanted, Dahlman, the center from Atlanta, and people wanted this guy, and people wanted that guy. And look, I'm not going to fault you for that. Those are the big names. But it wasn't that long ago that everybody was really fired up that James Gladstone and Liam Cohen were here, right? Really fired up. Changing of the guard, a new era. And now all of a sudden, because you, or at least some of you, are a little underwhelmed by what they've done today, all of a sudden there are now problems in the brand new circle of life here in Jacksonville with this new regime. I'll tell you why I don't agree with that. All right. By all indications, you added one of the best nickel corners in football today in Jordan Lewis. I don't know what that means for Jarian Jones necessarily. That's a separate issue, but I like Jordan Lewis. Eric Murray, it's a 31-year-old safety. He's probably a placeholder. He starts for a year or two. But you don't have to pay him $17, $18, $19 million a year like some of these other guys are getting. And Eric Murray's a good football player. Started 14 games for the Texans last year. Patrick McCary started all 17 for Baltimore last year. Has played all 5 spots on the offensive line. You want to talk about versatility, man. You got it there. Robert Hainsey has started 35 games at center. Started all of 2022, all of 2023. For Tampa Bay. Lost his job to a rookie in 2024. Fair enough. But Liam Cohen thought enough of him to bring him to Jacksonville. If you believe in Liam Cohen, why wouldn't you believe in Robert Hainsey? Dami Brown? I love that signing. 1-year prove-it deal for a guy that had 14 catches in 3 playoff games, 9 of which were for first downs and crucial moments for that Washington team in that playoff run. A guy that gets a chance now to prove it in a 1-year contract. Love that. Look, it's not the sexiness. It's not going to be talked about on all the national shows. And it's a change. Because normally when Jacksonville does this much in free agency, well, yeah, they are bringing in Mitch Morse and Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram and Brandon Sheriff and Foley Fatukasi and Darius Williams and Eric Armstead and go on and on and on and on. And we're all fired up, right? Great. And in 3 years, that's gotten 1 playoff win. It's gotten 1 playoff appearance. Let's try some new. James Gladstone told you guys it's about raising the floor of the roster. Well, the floor has been raised. Has the ceiling been raised today? I wouldn't go that far. I'll be a realist with you. But I think the floor has been raised. They are better now than they were this morning. They have more depth, more versatility, more options now than they did this morning. And we'll see what happens. They still have a lot of cap room left. Could they make another signing or two? Yeah. And again, 10 draft picks. 6 in the top 125, including the number 5 overall selection. Point in this spiel is, I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm just saying patience is a virtue. You know, it's so interesting, too, real quick, because I want to get to Jamal St. of Channel 4. And I bring this up from time to time on nights like this. Now, I'm not talking to all of you, right? I'm not talking to all of you. But there is no doubt that some of you listening right now are underwhelmed. Some of you right now are saying same old Jags. I know you are. I've seen you on social media today. I've seen you out and about. Again, not a blanket statement, because I also know that some people see my vision in this. see what the Jaguars are doing. I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong if you believe either thing. I believe one thing, and I'll give you my opinion on it. But it is interesting that we have been so beat up by a franchise that has been awful for so long that, again, it's just in our DNA to think the worst possible thing's going to happen. Jaguar fans, in and of themselves, cannot get excited for a long period of time. They have to get frustrated. They have to complain about something. And why? Because it's in their DNA. It's been programmed into all of us. Bad decisions are going to happen. This is going to go wrong. That's going to go wrong. They're underwhelming in free agency. Why aren't they bringing this guy in? Why did they bring that guy in? Oh, my gosh, it's the same old, same old. And it's hard to get that out of your system. I'm with you on that. The team's been awful for a long time. It's hard to get that out of your system. But put your trust into the new era, the new blood, the new regime. You can't judge them off of one free agency period, which, by the way, I think was a good day. If you were fired up about Tony Baselli, Liam Cohen, and James Gladstone 48 hours ago, how on earth could you lose that fire about them after today? I get the feeling some of you have. I think that's wrong. That's short-sighted. Let the offseason play out. It's long. The Jacksonville Jaguars are better now than they were this morning. I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars will be better in 48 hours than they are right now. And certainly the Jaguars are going to be better in late April after the draft than they are here on the 10th day of March. It's a roller coaster. There will be ups, there will be downs. Enjoy the ride, man. What fun is a roller coaster if all you're thinking about is the end? Then you miss the entire ride. Enjoy the peaks, enjoy the valleys. That's what makes it fun. Makes it fun. And I thought today was a fun day in Jacksonville because I think the Jaguars, despite it, quote-unquote, being underwhelming for some of you, I happen to like what they did. And I'm not always the most positive guy when it comes to the Jaguars. But for today, I give them a thumbs up. 641-1010 on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. If you want to get involved on the text line, you are more than welcome to do so. Your thoughts on the Jaguar 9, I guess we'll call them. As of now, by the way, something could happen any moment. We'll keep you updated. But 9 guys is a big haul in one day. 9. Again, we're going to go to Dallas. We're going to go to Washington. We're going to go to Baltimore. We're going to go to Houston later on in the program. We're going to learn about some of these guys. It's going to be a busy show. Coming up next, my buddy Jamal St. of Channel 4. What did Jamal think of the Jaguar day? Is he like me, or was he underwhelmed a little bit? Jamal St. Channel 4 next. Hacker After Dark. Glad you're with us on a Monday right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
One of the few places drinking and driving isn't against the law.
Good-looking shot here.
Get live Southeast Orthopedic Specialist leaderboard updates
From Corona Premier, Campione Law, and Kuhn Flowers.
on 1010XL.
Hey, this is Darren with One Call Lawn and Pest Control. Since 2011, we've taken great pride in being Northeast Florida's premier lawn, termite, and pest control company. Our technicians receive thorough training year-round, focusing on exceptional customer service with meticulous attention to detail. One Call serves the greater Jacksonville area, including St. Augustine, Orange Park, and Fernandina. We're eager for the opportunity to earn your business and welcome you to the One Call family. Call or text us for a free quote, 413-8377.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Good morning. Tasha's morning dance parties are meeting rave reviews.
Lose your phones and find your groove.
They need an ops manager to help their community dance the morning away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror? Fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at Dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
Who will win the players? Hello Windows and Doors presents the 1010XL Players You Pick'em contest. Go to 1010XL.com and pick who you think will win this year's tournament. You could win $1,000 in jewelry from Beard's Diamonds. Go to 1010XL.com today.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
Looking for adventure? Need a machine that works as hard as you do? CF Moto has you covered. At Ride Now Beach Boulevard, we've got CF Moto ATVs and UTVs built for any task, any trail, anytime. Tear up the dirt with the trail-tested C-Force ATV lineup or conquer through terrain with a Z-Force UTV. Find your CF Moto ride today at Ride Now Beach Boulevard or visit ridenowbeachboulevard.com. ATVs and UTVs are for riders 16 and older. They can be hazardous to operate. CF Moto recommends an improved safety training course.
Jags fans, here's your chance to score a trip to Green Bay for round one of draft night. Through the Everbank Draft Night Experience Sweepstakes, one lucky winner and a guest will be there live and in person to see the Jaguars make their first pick. To enter, visit everbank.com/draft by April 4th. That's everbank.com/draft. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry period from 3/3/25 to 4/4/25. For official rules, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/draft. Sponsored and administrator, Everbank N.A.
Hey folks, Nick here for Zero Res. You're going to want to beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get one room Zero Resified starting at $53. Hey, and take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Don't forget about your air ducts. Your air ducts sort of like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air quality suffers. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com. Tell them Dan or 1010XL sent you. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
It's March Madness, and your office needs a champion. Advanced Business Solutions teams up with Xerox to bring you copiers that never miss a shot. Fast, reliable, and ready to handle the pressure. Make the winning play for your business. Hire the champions at Advanced Business Solutions, where your business goes for the win. Locally and veteran-owned.
Print documents and IT management. Advanced Business Solutions.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Busy night. Glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. The Jaguars agreeing to terms with 9 new players. Let's see. They went 1 quarterback, 1 wide receiver, a couple of tight ends, 3 along the offensive line. That goes to show you what they thought of the O-line. 1 corner and 1 safety. Probably 4 starters out of the 9 would be my guess. And we'll see if they do anything else tonight. Obviously, they have some more room. And then they got those 10 draft picks coming up in late April. Jamal St. of Channel 4, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Jamal, how we doing, man?
A busy enough day for you?
Oh, my gosh. Craziness. Absolutely crazy. All right, let's go ahead and from the top, 9 guys overall, yet Jamal, I think some of the fan base, not all, but some, might be a little underwhelmed. What's your thought?
Look, I think this is different. Look, part of this is when you look at how you build a team, building a team through free agency rarely works. It doesn't create sustainability. This wasn't a strong free agent class, so there weren't that many, slam home guys that you could just go in and say, this will change the team. They've opted to go for a volume approach, and they talked about needing to raise the floor on this roster, and you have to go and find guys that fit. They brought in a handful of guys that have ties to the offense that'll already know some of the communication and some of the buzzwords that they'll use, so that'll help to kind of help that transitional phase as they install this new offense and get used to this coaching staff here in Jacksonville. So I think they clearly went on a very meticulous approach. And instead of trying to go get guys that would be game changers, get guys that can fit a role that they feel like they needed on the roster.
You know, the big news was 3 offensive linemen. And I think 2 of those 3, McCary and Hany, are probably going to start at right guard and center. That would at least be my guess. What was your take on the offensive line, Hall, today?
Look, you had to get better on O-line, right? There was no way around it. They had 2 glaring holes that had to be filled on the interior of that offensive line at center and at guard. Hany's a guy that Cohen was with in Tampa last year. He didn't start for the Bucs last year, but clearly Liam Cohen felt good enough about bringing him in to at least let him compete for a job. McCary's a guy that literally has played everywhere along the offensive line for the Ravens, so he could play a number of different spots for the Jaguars. Most likely guard, but, who knows? He's the Swiss Army knife. And then you go and get the other guy, Adoga, who's a solid swing tackle for you, and the Jaguars needed that. Look, honestly, the depth along the offensive line wasn't good enough. I mean, when we talk about the starters along the offensive line needing to improve there, that should tell you how the depth is, because the depth was sitting behind the guys that we're sitting there seeing on the field saying needed to improve. And I think Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, and company looked at it and said the same exact thing. So they've gone and got a handful of guys that they feel at least will help bring the depth up on this group. Now, I wouldn't rule out necessarily them adding another offensive lineman, whether it be through the draft or free agency, to continue to kind of build that group. But it's pretty clear what they're trying to do.
Jamal St. of Channel 4 with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. I want to go back, Jamal, to the first signing that they made earlier today. And what's interesting about Reed, the corner from Dallas, is the nickel aspect of it. And they gave him big money. So obviously he's in the plans at nickel. Because we thought, or at least I thought, and I don't think I was alone, that Jarian Jones was the nickel corner. And obviously the new staff in here has no ties to the old staff. They may see Jarian in a completely different way. Is it your opinion now that Jarian Jones is cornerback 2 on the outside behind Tyson Campbell?
Oh, well, look, I think so right now. Look, Jordan Lewis is fantastic for what he does in the slot. I mean, he did a lot of good things there in Dallas, and he's being well paid to come to Jacksonville and join the Jaguars. So, yeah, the idea is he's probably going to take over that slot spot, which would mean that most likely Jarian Jones, if he's going to find his way onto the football field, is going to have to do it at outside corner. I mean, there's honestly no way around it. I asked Jarian when the season wrapped up if he wanted to move outside if there was a chance, and he said very clearly he's a football player and he just wants to be on the field. So he's a guy who's going to go out there and compete, and I think that's exactly what he'll do. I think he's going to at least compete for that outside job. Now, ultimately, if they decide to do something different, whether it be through the draft, we'll see. But right now, I'd pencil Jarian Jones in outside and Jordan Lewis in the slot and Tyson Campbell on the other side.
Jordan Lewis and Eric Murray, the safety from the Texans, are both older than Grant Udinski, the offensive coordinator. Surprised you at all that they kind of went the more experienced route in the secondary?
Well, you have to add some experience to the group, right? I mean, we've sat here and seen the miscommunications and coverage for seasons upon seasons. And at some point, the only way you're going to fix that is adding guys that have been there, done that, and seen everything, and that can handle it. So they've opted to go and get some of that veteran leadership that's going to help to fix some of those situations. I mean, by all accounts from the folks in Dallas, Jordan Lewis is an intense guy who they loved having around there and did a little bit of everything for the Cowboys. So you can expect him to be able to bring that intensity and that do-it-all attitude to the Jaguars. So I think you're going to see that they're trying to kind of figure out how to fix some of these things. And by fixing them, you can't just only do it through the draft. You can't only do it with some of those young and up-and-comers. You got to get a 30-year-old or so, even if they are older than your offensive coordinator.
Couple of more for Jamal St. of Channel 4. Jamal, Dami Brown from Washington is another one that's intriguing, the wide receiver. 25 years old, only gets a one-year deal. It's like a one-year prove-it deal, it appears. But I got to tell you, he's a guy that I remember in the playoffs. And I went to look up his numbers for Washington. 14 catches in that playoff run for the Commanders. 9 of those 14 went for first downs on critical plays in those games. I got to tell you, man, I'm normally not a glass half full guy when it comes to a signing like that, but I think Dami Brown has all sorts of potential here.
Look, there's definitely potential. I mean, he is speed on demand. I mean, this guy can get down the football field. He is a threat. And right now, we've gone through it for years where we said, okay, who's the deep threat on the Jaguars offense? Who's that guy that takes the top off? And then you finally got Brian Thomas Jr., and they said, you know what, we're going to get another one. So now you've at least got 2 of those guys that are threats to stretch the field vertically that teams have to be concerned about going down the football field. So that's good. And I think he brings that to the offense. I think he's going to have a role here, and I think he's going to be a guy who he clearly feels comfortable because you come and sign that one-year deal, and generally they sign that one-year deal hoping that they're going to have a big season to get a multi-year deal the next offseason. So we'll see what happens. So I'm sure he must have been sold on his fit in this offense, and I think he's a guy that brings a dimension that the Jaguars really haven't had a ton of guys that could fill for a long time. Now you've got 2 deep threats, and I mean, it's been a while since we could sit here and say the Jaguars had 2 receivers that could really stretch the field.
There's all sorts of Cooper Kupp talk in the city. I think people think that's going to happen. Jamal, I got reservations about that because, again, Cooper, he's going to be 32, right, in November. You just got rid of a soon-to-be 29-year-old Christian Kirk because of the money and maybe injury problems. Well, Cooper Kupp has injury problems, and he's 3 years older. And if you look at the wide receiver room, right, you got BTJ, you got Dami Brown, you got Gabe Davis, and you got Parker Washington. I mean, how expensive is Cooper Kupp going to be, and how many balls are there going to be to go around in that wide receiver room? I'm not as high on that idea as some.
Okay, I'm on the opposite end of that from you, Hacker. Maybe at least a little bit. So here's part of my thing. So Christian Kirk, and let's put Christian Kirk and Cooper Kupp in the same vein, at least comparison right now, right? Even as recently as last season, when they were both healthy, which one was better, Hacker?
Oh, they were both healthy. Cooper Kupp was better.
And Christian Kirk wishes he had Cooper Kupp's career. So if you tell me that you can get one instead of the other one, to me, Cooper Kupp would be an upgrade. Now, there are injury concerns and then the price tag that goes along with it, sure, but he also has already worked with Liam Cohen, knows a large part of that McVay offense and what they're going to be trying to install here. So he can replace that quarterback-friendly receiver that maybe Christian Kirk was, that quarterback's best friend kind of guy that knows exactly where he's supposed to be in this offense because he's so comfortable with it. Is Cooper Kupp a long-term fit? Absolutely not. He's on the tail end of his career. But if he could come in my mind, and be a leader and really be Trevor Lawrence's best friend out there on the football field because he is so good at finding voids and zones and making those plays and knowing where he needs to be in the offense, I think it would be worth it. Because ultimately, look, the job they have to figure out how to do and we could have had this conversation at any given moment, and we have had this conversation before, is put as many weapons as possible around Trevor Lawrence. If you tell me right now we're going into the next season and the Jaguars have Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., and Dami Brown and did I say Brian Thomas? Regardless, those are your guys for your receiver core, and Parker Washington, throw him in there. I don't feel good. Like, that's not an upgrade. That's not something that while I think Dami Brown has a role and can play well, that shouldn't make anybody feel warm and fuzzy inside. If they strike out on Cooper Kupp, to me, I'm saying you got to go in the draft and you got to go get a guy. You have to find a way to upgrade that receiver room. Dami Brown should be a role player. I mean, from what we saw from Gabe Davis last year, I don't know what Gabe Davis is going to show up when he gets back out on the field in training camp. You honestly don't know, so you can't bank on that. So they have to go get someone to be able to raise the floor on that receiver room. Parker can compete, and maybe he can earn a role or be a replacement or whatever it may be, and I'm a Parker fan. I think Parker has a role in this offense. I liked him coming out in the draft, was glad the Jaguars were able to get him, but I'm not willing to, crown him as – okay, well, here you go. Here's a role in the offense. They got to go get a guy, Hacker. Whether it's Cooper Kupp, they struck out on Chris Godwin. There just aren't that many guys on the street, wide receiver-wise, that they can go get that are going to make you feel better. So unless you're telling me right now that they're going to go get, I mean, I don't want to say Tet McMillan in the draft, but, I mean, one of those top guys, I mean, I think it's got to be Kupp.
That's fair. No, I don't disagree with a lot of what you said. I guess my point with Brown is you gave him $10 million. That's awfully weird to give a guy $10 million if he's going to be your fourth option behind BTJ if you bring in Cooper Kupp and you got Gabe Davis. So we'll see what happens. I agree they need to add another guy or two, maybe a free agent, maybe somebody in the draft. Jamal, quickly, we got 60 seconds, man. They're not done in free agency, I don't think. Maybe another guy or two, certainly. No defensive lineman yet. Does that lead you to believe they're all in on the Mason Graham sweepstakes?
No, I think a lot of the guys went off for high prices. I'd expect them to get a third edge at some point. As far as interior defensive line, they spent a lot of money there in the past. I think they're setting up where they're going to take the guy they think is the best, Hacker.
We'll see what happens. It's been a crazy, crazy day. 9 or I guess not signings. They can't be official until Wednesday, but they've agreed to terms with 9 guys. After Will Lutz last year, Jamal, I guess we don't count the chickens before they hatch. Remember, they agreed to terms with Will Lutz, and then he bailed on him a couple hours later. But as of now, 9 guys are coming to Jacksonville in what has been a very active day one of free agency for James Gladstone, Liam Cohen, and Tony Baselli. Jamal, what's coming up on Channel 4? I'm sure you guys will have free agency covered for the next few days.
Yeah, we'll have free agency coverage. We'll be out at TPC Sawgrass for the players all week long. A lot of stuff as we start to really start ramping up. I mean, it's the off-season, but it's not the off-season, Hacker. And then we're gearing up for the draft, so a lot of stuff you'll be able to track it down. It'll be over on we have Sportscast at 6:30, 10, and 11 every night.
It's a busy time. There is no doubt about that. Jamal St. Jamal, appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon.
Appreciate you, Hacker. Anytime, man.
Always appreciate my buddy Jamal St. of Channel 4. All right. We are going to start our kind of mini tour around the United States of America. The Jaguars brought in 9 guys. I'm going to let you hear from as many guys as I can in regards to those 9 guys. We're going to begin out in Dallas because the Jaguars brought in 2 Dallas Cowboys. Jordan Lewis, the corner, and Chuma Idogba, the offensive lineman, both from Dallas, both coming to Jacksonville. My guy out in Dallas is Nick Harris. He has been with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. He's covered the Dallas Cowboys for a long time. What about Jordan Lewis? What about Chuma Idogba? 2 new Jaguars, 2 former Dallas Cowboys. Let's talk with Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. That's next on a Monday night in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark till 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
I did not see this one coming.
Radio play-by-play is like stepping in a theater in your mind.
As good as it gets.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy, you look worried.
Worried? I'm apoplectic.
You're what now?
I'm freaking out, Jason. Stupid water heater crapped out, so I haven't showered since Thursday. I start smelling a little funky, blow my big corporate job interview tomorrow. I'll end up settling for some dead-end career selling spatulas on the internet.
Dude, stay cool.
There's nothing cool about a cold shower, Jason. I mean, I know how that sounds, but
Bueller Air and Plumbing can get a new water heater installed today. The day you call. You could be smelling fresh again by dinner time.
Wait, you can do that?
Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Is that cooler?
Oh, yeah.
Well, life moves pretty fast. If you spend much more time smelling like this, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
The First Tee Tour Card is back for 2025 and better than ever, with access to over 15 of North Florida's best courses and new this year, local participating businesses. This card is your ticket to saving hundreds. First Tee North Florida is a local nonprofit who build character in youth participants through the game of golf. This annual fundraiser enables this amazing organization the ability to build game changers. Grab your tour card for just $99 at tourcard.org. for a list of participating partners, benefits, and restrictions.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com. If fishing is in your DNA, hop in the boat with Captain Kevin. It's the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show, brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
New and pre-owned firearms are always in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimbar, Smith & Wesson, Sig Sauer, and Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
If you'd like to help support domestic violence victims, you can get involved in the Par for a Purpose golf tournament, hosted by Micah's Place at the Golf Club of Amelia Island on June 20th. Register and learn more at micahsplace.org/golf.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
If you're a dog lover who wants to help animals, our furry friends need exercise and time out of their kennels. You can make a difference in a dog's life at volunteer@jaxhumane.org.
Military veterans have always protected us. And in Jacksonville, thousands of our veterans suffer from mental wounds like PTSD. Now it's time to return the favor. Learn how you can help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
This is Hayes Carline for Physician Guided Weight Loss. I'm down over 25 pounds already this year, and I feel great with no side effects, all thanks to their amazing technology, fast setup, friendly staff, and their proven results. Plus, a firm pricing structure means there are no rising costs as you go. If you're ready for a leaner body ahead of the warmer weather coming, call my friends at Physician Guided Weight Loss at 257-4344. That's 257-4344, Physician Guided Weight Loss.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. NFL free agency deals are not official until Wednesday, but obviously they can be agreed to terms. And earlier today, the Jacksonville Jaguars look like they went out and got themselves a brand new defensive back, going to Dallas and getting a veteran in Jordan Lewis from the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go out to our guy in Dallas, Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Nick, how you doing?
Man, doing fantastic. It's we were talking about it before we hopped on. Definitely an interesting day for Twitter to go down, but here we are nevertheless.
Yeah, unbelievable. Come on, Elon. What are you doing, man? All right. So Jordan Lewis, let's get the information. Long-time Dallas Cowboy, right? His entire career in Dallas, dating back to, I believe, 2017, correct?
Yeah, drafted in 2017 out of Michigan. Spent 8 years as the slot nickel corner for the Cowboys and has been really consistent, really efficient, and probably played his best season in 2024, despite a ton of things going on around him, not only on the defensive side of the ball, but in the franchise as well. He was one of the lone bright spots to shine on that Cowboys defense.
I guess one of the main questions here that I've gotten since the announcement, longtime Dallas Cowboy, why did they not want to bring him back, or did they want to bring him back?
They did. He was considered a top priority after they got Osa Odighizuwa's deal done last week to bring him back. They pivoted their attention to Jordan Lewis, and I was told by multiple people in Dallas that he was their top in-house free agent priority going into that next week, and they weren't able to get a deal figured out. There was never a deal that was made, or never an offer that was made, I should say. But I think the Cowboys were expecting this deal to come in around $6-7 million, not $10 million. So this is a big pay for Jacksonville to go get a slot nickel corner who can provide consistency, provide reliability. But 3 years, $30 million makes him the highest paid nickel in the NFL. And Jacksonville was certainly willing to pay that price for it.
Nick Harris, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. He's our guy when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. The Jaguars go out to Dallas earlier and agree to terms with cornerback Jordan Lewis. And that's my next question. The nickel name, the nickel spot is where it appears he's going to be. Is that your assumption?
Yes, absolutely. Now, he did have to play some outside corner at times last year. The Cowboys, I think they fielded 12 cornerbacks last year because of injury. But nevertheless, he's going to be an inside guy. He'll play in the slot. He has a ton of experience playing there in the slot. And his stature at about 5'10.5", 190 pounds, that's what fits him best. And then he's going to be a really great locker room for the young guys in that room as well. He was a part of the leadership council in Dallas, does a lot of stuff for the community, big time presence in that locker room that will help Jacksonville as well.
And you led me right into it. He's 29. I believe he's going to be 30 in August. So he's been around for a while, but like you said, you follow the Cowboys as closely as anybody. You think his best year was last year, so maybe age won't be a factor, at least for 2025.
That's not the indication, at least. And you look at his career and how it's gone. He's been a model of consistency, and he's been a model of reliability outside of the 2022 season when in roughly week 10, week 11, he suffered a Lisfranc injury to the top of his foot, and it was career-threatening, and it almost took him out for the rest of his NFL career. He had to have multiple surgeries on the top of his foot. People didn't think he would come back the same way, and not only did he come back the same way, he got better as 2024 went on. This is a really high character guy, a guy that's come back from a really difficult injury, and that's the only time he's ever missed in his NFL career.
Final moments, Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Nick, it's a changing of the guard here in Jacksonville. I mean, for crying out loud, we have a 29-year-old offensive coordinator. We have a 34-year-old general manager, a 39-year-old head coach. I don't think it's a rebuild, but it's a retooling, no question about it. We've talked about the player. Let's talk about the person, Jordan Lewis. What kind of guy is coming to the Jaguar organization?
Yeah, us in the media in Dallas, we give out a media good guy award every year, and it's basically to the guy who is always there to answer questions, win or lose, is always there to help us off the record with stuff as well. And that award unanimously went to Jordan Lewis last year, because not only is he a good guy with the media, he's also a good guy in the community. You'll see him out in the community doing stuff in Jacksonville. He's going to be a leader for the young guys on defense in Jacksonville. It'd be tough to find a better free agent in this NFL free agent class when it comes to being a good person and a good dude than Jordan Lewis. I think Jacksonville hit a home run when it comes to the personality aspect of it.
Nick, final question. Myles Garrett got $1 billion this weekend. What does Micah Parsons think of this moving forward?
Yeah, maybe he's trying to get $1.1 billion now, right? But the question in Dallas is, okay, $40 million per year for Myles Garrett. Is that the new floor for Micah Parsons, or is that the ceiling for Micah Parsons? I think that's going to be kind of the question as the negotiations go on. Now, his agent, David Mulugeta, he is known for getting that top dollar, and he is known for resetting the market. So he's certainly going to try to do that with Micah Parsons. Now, Micah did say in late December, he's like, look, I don't need to be the highest paid defender. I don't need $40 million per year. I just want to get a deal done quick so we have some certainty heading into free agency. Well, we're heading into free agency and no deal is done. So we'll have to see as this negotiation goes on. But the Myles Garrett part of it certainly makes it a little bit more interesting.
Final moments, Nick Harris, Fort Worth Star-Telegram with us here on 1010XL. And Nick, by the way, just coming across the wire right now, the Jaguars have gone back to Dallas for an offensive lineman. Chuma Edoga is going to join. Jordan Lewis is now the second Dallas Cowboy that's agreed to terms with Jacksonville today. Your reaction to Chuma Edoga also coming to Jacksonville?
Yeah, Edoga was a guy that Mike McCarthy really liked when he was in Dallas, obviously before Brian Schottenheimer took over. He was used as kind of the sixth man on that offensive line, if you will, a swing tackle. They had him fill in whenever Tyler Guyton had some growing pains last year, also had some injury struggles. He's also played a little bit of right guard for them too. I personally believe that he's better at guard than he is at tackle, but the Cowboys, they really forced him at that tackle position. Sometimes he was all right, and then there was sometimes he wasn't that great at all. I think back to a Christmas Eve game in 2023 against the Dolphins where he just got eaten alive by that Dolphins pass rushing unit, and it ended up being a 2-point loss for the Cowboys. But it's a good sixth man to have. He's a veteran presence, and he'll work well in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm getting a sense they're looking for versatility along the offensive line. They went and got Patrick McCary from Baltimore, who's literally played every spot on the O-line. And you mentioned Edoga, both a guard and a center, or a guard and a tackle, rather. And the interesting thing about him, he was like a 5-star kid coming out of Atlanta, I believe. Went out to Southern Cal, so coming close to home now, back into the Southeast.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a good dude, too. Really good guy, down to earth. He's kind of shy when it comes to the media stuff, but if you catch him off to the side, really good dude. And as far as, having that type of experience, not only with the Cowboys, going back to his time with the Jets, going back to his time at USC, good veteran presence to have on an offensive line that I would expect to have some young guys.
Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Jordan Lewis and Chuma Edoga, two former Dallas Cowboys, now coming to Jacksonville. Nick, again, thank you for your time, brother. We'll talk again soon.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it.
There you go. Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Appreciate Nick for joining us as the Jaguars went to Dallas twice to get Jordan Lewis, the corner, and to get Chuma Edoga, the offensive lineman. Now, Edoga appears on the surface. That's kind of a depth move. He's probably going to be the swing tackle, would be my guess. But Lewis is going to be your nickel, and they're paying him as such. And he's going to be your nickel, which, again, is interesting as far as what that means for the future of Jarian Jones. Because all the thought was that you needed another starting outside corner behind Tyson Campbell, and that Jones was your nickel. Well, if they brought in Jordan Lewis to play the nickel, does that mean they feel good enough with Jarian Jones on the outside, or do they not feel good about Jarian Jones? And that question will be answered, I would think, sooner rather than later. Something just struck me, too, and that was, again, thank you to Nick Harris in Dallas. We're going to go to Washington next. Well, Willingham of 106.7 The Fan in Washington is going to join us to talk about Dami Brown. In Denmark, maybe this is nothing. Maybe this is something. I don't know. Liam Cohen was the offensive coordinator in Tampa last year, right? They lost a playoff game to Washington, if memory serves. Out of curiosity, do you remember Dami Brown's stat line in that playoff win against the Buccaneers?
No, but I know it was good.
He had 5 grabs for 89 yards and a touchdown on Sunday night, wild card weekend, when Washington went into Tampa and won the game. Liam Cohen saw up close and personal Dami Brown go for 5 for 89 and a score and a wild card road win for the Commanders. Did that have any effect on bringing Dami Brown here? I don't know. Just something interesting to point out. What about the brand new wide receiver for the Jaguars? Why is it only a 1-year deal? Let's find out about it. Let's find out about Dami Brown. Let's go up to Washington, D.C. Linnell Willingham of 106.7 The Fan up in Washington joins us next on a Monday evening in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark till 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Load the jump program.
1010XL.
1010XL. 1010XL.
Florida heat is no joke. Is your air conditioner ready for it? At Duck Duck Air Conditioning, we've got a crazy offer just for you. We're giving away free AC inspections to our wonderful customers who now call and schedule. One of our expert techs will come look at your AC unit and make recommendations to ensure it's running at peak performance. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Air Conditioning. DuckDuckAC.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Youth sports at the YMCA's focus on teamwork, discipline, and building confidence. Our experienced coaches can create a positive and supportive environment where your kids can grow, stay active, and develop a love for sports. Sports like basketball, volleyball, swimming, gymnastics, and even elite skills training. Join the fun and register. Give your kids a chance to be a part of something special. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, I'm Jeff Breyer, president of Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring.
And I'm Zach Breyer. When my dad started in business in 1990, I wasn't even born yet.
That's true. And after 35 years and nearly 20,000 satisfied customers, we literally have a showroom in every neighborhood.
So whether you need more outdoor living space with a glass or screen enclosure, or you're looking to transform your home with new flooring, we've got you covered.
Visit our websites, or better yet, do yourself a favor and stop by one of our showrooms on Phillips Highway to experience the Lifetime difference and receive 20% off your purchase now through March.
Lifetime Enclosures.
To the T here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes through in the clutch? From lunch to late night, only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Stick around after the sunset, and Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Come on, somebody.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me, if you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org.
For Canine Veterans Day, Navy Mutual would like to salute all active and retired canines that have served our country. Canine Veterans Day has been officially designated as a day to honor these unique members of our military. America salutes you.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
Pick it here for Bound 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bound 9. Visit Bound 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bound 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. Boy, the Jaguars have made a couple, signings today. We'll take that back. Signings not until Wednesday, but they've agreed to terms with some folks. Not exactly splashes, but one of the more intriguing guys to me is the wide receiver coming in from Washington, Dami Brown, reportedly a 1-year, $10 million deal to come to Jacksonville to join William Cohen and Trevor Lawrence. Let's go up to the D.C. area and let's find out about Dami Brown. Winnell Willingham of 106.7 The Fan in Washington joins us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Winnell, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
Hey, buddy, we're good. Thank you for the time on short notice. All right, Dami Brown to the Jaguars. Your thoughts when you saw the deal earlier today?
Yeah, I kind of been bracing Commander fans, really since the start of the offseason that, hey, considering this is, largely described by most folks as a weak wide receiver free agent class, I thought guys like Dami Brown would maybe be out of Washington's price range. I was telling you before we hopped on here that I'm actually not too happy with our guy Dami Brown. So Dante Fowler, who I know you all know very well down there as well, was kind of frustrated last night, I guess, with the offer that Washington gave to him. Put out a series of expletive tweets, but then deleted them. And then Dami Brown quote tweeted it and was like, exactly. So basically he felt like he was lowballed by Washington, probably for good reason, though. Like, I think it's a good signing for Jacksonville. I see how he fits into that offense. You can never have too much speed. I think he's a guy that he's only in his, 4th year in the National Football League. And is a guy that I think, if it all pans out for him, the ceiling for him is like a guy like a Christian Kirk, who you all just lost. So I do think there's some tremendous upside there. The first 3 years of his career, though, guys, like he really struggled to get going and carve out a prominent role in the offense. And considering Washington hasn't had the most dynamic skill group, I did, question that. But this past year, Cliff Kingsbury, carved out a role for him. I thought going into camp last year, there was thought around whether or not he would even make the final 53. I thought he had an excellent camp. Him and Jaden Daniels hooked up, routinely out there, specifically stretching the field vertically. I think that is really Dami's bread and butter. But what he did this year that I think caught some people by surprise in a good way was the physicality and the willingness that he showed to block in the run game and in the screen game. They got an old saying in the Commanders, receiver room, no block, no rock. And Dami obviously took that personally, goes for a career-high 30 catches, 308 yards, and a touchdown. That's not really where he did his damage. The postseason is where Dami really turned up. 14 receptions, 229 yards, and a touchdown. He had 9 first downs in the postseason as well. And, after the way he performed in the postseason, I thought he would get a deal like this. Tutu Atwell signed for $10 million with the Rams, so I thought Dami, similar stats, similar age, will be right in that demographic.
Oh, no, Willingham, 106.7 The Fan up in Washington. You mentioned Dami Brown and the blocking. That stands to reason with what we heard from Liam Cohen from people in Tampa about wide receivers really needing to block in his offense. And I guess what you're saying is when Washington brought in Deebo Samuel, did that kind of seal Diami's fate up there?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I just think, obviously, how this thing goes. The legal tampering period opened up at noon today. Washington has had discussions with Diami's representatives, and those talks, I think, ultimately came to a head around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock Eastern time last night, as you're getting closer to the time to be able to talk to other teams. I think the Deebo Samuel thing definitely did help Diami's cause in terms of coming back. I continue to believe for Washington, there was just a certain price that they weren't willing to go over, and Jacksonville obviously was. So now Dami is a Jaguar.
Final question. Again, thank you for joining us on such a busy day. The type of guy that's coming to Jacksonville, they've had issues here in the past with previous regimes are bringing in, the wrong type guys. What kind of guy is Dami? How would you describe him?
I think he's a guy that is continuing to mature, right? Going to turn 26 during the regular season. A guy that wasn't the toughest cat when he first came to Washington. I think that, to me, has been the thing that I've been most impressed with really the last 2 years. You've seen him take a step forward with his physicality as a blocker and things of that nature. Off the field, though, a squeaky clean track record. Never heard any type of inklings or rumblings about, him being a problem off the field. I think he's a guy that is going to be a model citizen and be a stand-up guy and really help out that Jaguars offense. You talk about speed. Liam Cohen is certainly putting together quite the track team with Brian Thomas Jr. as well as Dami Brown. So I wish the kid the best. I think he's a good guy overall. Didn't like the tweet last night, but you know how guys get about their money. I can't blame him, and I hope he really has a good rest of his career down there in Jacksonville.
Well, we certainly appreciate you joining us on short notice. Again, 106.7 The Fan. You're on other outlets as well. We know there's a lot of Washington fans in our area. Well, where can people find you?
You can find me on social media first and foremost at NELL_BTP. And then you can catch me on the Team 980 AM in Washington, D.C. And then weekends, you can catch me on the Infinity Sports Network, formerly known as CBS Sports Radio. So a lot of different ways you can catch me. And I appreciate you all having me on.
All right, well, we appreciate it, buddy. Take care. We'll talk again soon.
No problem, my man.
Play-by-play just makes everyday life better.
I did not see this one coming.
Get the most play-by-play on 1010XL, Jacksonville's play-by-play sports radio.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
Firefighters, paramedics, police officers, they take care of us, and at AMCO, we're proud to take care of them. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. As an essential business, we work on every kind of car repair with flexible financing and extra safety precautions. Essential, reliable, trusted. That's the men and women who are there for us, and it's our honor to be there for them. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia. AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care.
Hello, I'm attorney Malcolm Anthony. Being charged with domestic violence can turn your life upside down. If you're in trouble, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
At Rocket, we believe everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. So if you're feeling locked out of home ownership, we're here to give you back the keys. We're opening doors, breaking down walls, and doing everything we can to turn renters into owners. And we're not going to stop until we help everyone home. To find out more, visit rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
I'm Max Fink, and I'll bring you the Gator Report several times weekly to keep you connected to Gainesville.
The Gator Report, put together by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators!
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and you got really cool things going on right now because there's new product coming in the showroom. Tell everybody about the Aprilia Demo Days.
March 11th and 12th. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to have the Aprilia demo truck. We caught them on the way back from Daytona Bike Week. They're going to be there. Come ready to ride.
Tell everybody real quick about Aprilia.
They are a bad Italian motorcycle. Nobody's ever ridden an Italian anything and said that wasn't fun.
Check it out. Cycles of Jacksonville. All the details on their Facebook page.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Kuhn floral arrangements. Dylan Denmark here with 1010XL. You'll be assured of a quality delivery, that's for sure. Log on and order online at kuhnflowers.com.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Your hole-in-one for men's health is Ackerman Urology. With offices in Mandarin, Middleburg, World Golf Village, and the beaches, Ackerman will get you on par for any prostate conditions and sexual vitality. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Tired of supermarket produce that's traveled thousands of miles before you get it? Treat your family to farm-fresh, Florida-grown fruits and veggies delivered right to your home with Doorbell Farms. No supply chain issues or questionable origins, just seasonal produce hand-picked from local farmers. Subscribe monthly and enjoy the best local farm produce delivered right to you. Sign up now at doorbellfarms.com. Connecting real people to real family farms. Doorbellfarms.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. Free agency begins today. Deals cannot be officially signed until Wednesday, although they can be agreed on, and that is what the Jaguars did earlier today with Eric Murray from the Houston Texans. The safety is staying in the AFC South and now coming to Jacksonville. Let's talk to a man that's one of the best in covering the National Football League, has done so for many, many years. He's based out in Houston. That is John McClain. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. John, how we doing?
Doing great, thank you.
Hey, John, we appreciate the time on a busy day for everybody. Eric Murray, the 31-year-old safety on his way to Jacksonville. What were your thoughts on the former Texan?
Eric was here for 5 seasons. He was very dependable and reliable. He could play special teams. He could play free safety, strong safety. The Texans always had injuries at safeties. And I don't know why. 2 years ago, Eric played in 6 games, started 4, down for the season. Last year, they lost Jalen Petrie and Jimmy Ward, and Eric started 14 games after playing in all 17. So he's not one of those guys that has nagging injuries. And I look back with the Texans, he played, let's say he missed 2, 3, unless he had that major injury, he only missed 3 games in the other 4 seasons. And so I thought the Texans would re-sign Eric because they needed another safety anyway, because Eric Murray and MJ Stewart, who were their backups, both those guys are unrestricted. And I think he'll be a key addition as a key reserve and as a really good special teams player.
He's getting decent money here in Jacksonville, too. Eric Murray, a newest Jaguar. We got John McClain in Houston talking about Eric Murray. John, 31 years old. I don't know if that's a red flag necessarily, but the Jaguars have decided to go a little older in free agency. Jordan Lewis from Dallas, another guy out in your state you're probably familiar with, 29. Yeah. Now Eric Murray at 31. What do you make of the Jaguars going a little older in the secondary today?
Well, I'm sure that Liam Cohen doesn't call it older. He calls it more experienced. Fact is, they're getting more players older than the general manager, right?
Yeah.
And so I think usually when you sign those experienced guys, you're close to the playoffs. And I'm guessing the Jaguars think if they can keep Trevor Lawrence healthy, they're going to be competing for a playoff berth. Otherwise, you don't sign those guys at that age. But both those guys can play. Obviously, they needed help in the secondary, and good for them. You got the money to spend. Sometimes it's better to spend it on experience if they're healthy.
John, while we have you here, I want to talk about Christian Kirk, but while I have you here, obviously you've been covering the league for a long, long time. You're absolutely terrific at what you do. You mentioned Liam Cohen and James Gladstone. I mean, a 29-year-old offensive coordinator in Grant Udinski. It's a youth movement on the coaching staff here in Jacksonville. From afar, what have you made of what the Jaguars have done?
Shad Khan, who spends a lot of money. I saw something last year about he'd spent over $400 million in either signing bonuses or free agent contracts. So you know he'll spend money. He's tried everything. Successful former college coach. That bombed out. Then an older Super Bowl winning coach. That didn't work, although I thought they might stick with Doug Peterson one more year, considering all the injuries they had last year. But he's tried the experience angle, so why not go young? I'll tell you, I've been doing talk shows in Nashville 2 a week for 28 years. And when Cohen was at Kentucky, I just started hearing about him, and Will Levis had his best season as a sophomore with Cohen as his coach. Then Cohen left, and Levis was okay, still got drafted high in the second round by the Titans, but he certainly wasn't as good. And I will be curious to see if the Titans draft a quarterback overall, which I believe they will, and in the veteran they have as a backup. Do you want an experienced veteran? But if Will Levis gets cut or they trade him for a low pick, will he go to Jacksonville to back up Trevor Lawrence, since Cohen knows him so well? And I kind of like the youth movement. I saw here when the Texans hired Gary Kubiak in 2006, it was Gary's first head coaching job. He's a Houston native. Everybody was fired up about it. And they hired Rick Smith, one of the personnel directors at Denver, to come as the GM. And everybody said, well, that's not going to work. You can't have a first-time head coach and a first-time general manager. You need experience in one of those positions, and it worked out great. And So I'm hoping it works out great for the Jaguars. I admire them doing what they're doing. I love the Tony Boselli move. I'm sorry we took so long to get Tony into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and know how much he loves the Jaguars. And so I like everything that's going on over there. And I don't know, I'm not talking about fans, I'm talking about media people that I know who follow the Jaguars, which basically everybody in Houston, because of the division, they're all impressed. You don't know if it's going to work out, but I think Shad Khan gets a lot of credit for what he's willing to do.
Final moments with John McClain out in Houston talking about newest Jaguar Eric Murray. From the Texans to the Jaguars, there was also a Jaguars to the Texans last week, John, with Christian Kirk. Opened a lot of eyebrows here why the Jaguars would do that. My thought is, well, they were going to release him anyway. Who's to say he wouldn't have signed in Houston if he was released? At least they get something for him, a 7th-round pick in 2026. What has been the reaction of Christian Kirk's arrival in Houston?
People are really fired up about it for a couple of reasons. He's well known from Texas A&M, which is 85 miles from Houston, and our area's loaded with Aggies. He also has played very well against the Texans, and that's what all the TV shows were showing his highlights against the Texans. And I remember when the Jaguars gave him that big contract after 4 years at Arizona, everybody thought, oh my God, for Christian Kirk, he's never had a 1,000-yard season, never caught more than 6 touchdown passes. And then that first year was tremendous. And I know he's gone down the last 2 years, missed 5 games in 23, and of course, he missed 9 last season. And it's not like he had to have knee surgery, ankle, quad, anything like that. You know, it's a shoulder. And in fact, he's 28. This is his second year in a row that Nick Caserio's done this, and I don't know why more don't do it. He sees a guy that's about to be cut, who's 28 years old, who's been successful last year with Joe Mixon. There were all the reports. He was being shopped because the Bengals were going to cut him, even though he was coming off a season with over 1,000 yards rushing and over 300 receiving and 12 touchdowns. And he made good money. So Caserio goes, we need a running back. We'll give you 7. They said, okay, and he turned out to be great.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're hoping the same thing with Christian Kirk. We'll give you 7 and 26. So they're hoping it works out. If they had, I guess they ran out of 7, so they could have done that with a couple other players that got released. They'll redo Kirk's contract. I'm sure they've already got it agreed to. They don't want to pay him $16.5 million this year. They did that with Mixon, gave him a 3-year deal to lower the salary cap hit, and they'll do that with Kirk as well.
John McClain out in Houston, one of the best, has been covering the NFL for a long time. John, I know you're busy. Thank you for joining me on short notice to talk about brand new Jaguar safety Eric Murray. We certainly appreciate you, my friend.
My pleasure. Anytime. Thanks for having me.
There you go, John McClain with us here on Hacker After Dark. Always appreciate John hopping on board. Eric Murray is going to be your starting safety. And what's interesting about that is everybody was talking about Javon Holland or Javon Morig or Cam Bynum. Cam Bynum is probably the guy I kind of wanted. So it sucks a little bit that he ends up going to Indianapolis because I was kind of in the Cam Bynum camp. But Eric Murray is a guy that started a lot of games, 14 games for the Texans last year. He is 31. And he, along with Jordan Lewis is going to be 30 before the season. So, I mean, I don't really like the term placeholder, but it's kind of what they are. They're going to be guys that are going to come in here and probably start for a year or two. And they're going to allow James Gladstone and Liam Cohen to start building up their roster. And how they're going to do that is with the 21, as of now, the 21 draft picks they have between this year's draft and next year's draft. And odds are at some point this year or next year, they're going to take a safety in the, 3rd, 4th round, whatever. And after Eric Murray's here for a year or two, that safety that they draft will probably be the starter in 2027 or 2028. That's the vision, right? You don't want to spend $17 million on Javon Holland if you can get a guy like Eric Murray, good player, then start drafting your guys, building through the draft. Look at the most successful teams in the NFL. Look where James Gladstone came from, right? They added a lot of free agents, no doubt about it. But look at the rookies on the Los Angeles Rams last year, even from Braden Fisk to Jared Verse to Cam Kitchens, right? Now, they lost a couple of guys that have been there for a while, but you had a guy like Bobby Brown. You had guys of that sort. I mean, James Gladstone came from a guy in Wes Snead in L.A. that liked to build through the draft. And not only that, now they did trade some draft picks, no doubt, but they built with mid to late round draft picks. Why do you think Los Angeles has been as competitive as they've been? They didn't have a first-round pick for like 8 years, but they drafted their tails off, man, in rounds 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. And that's what you have to hope for here with Gladstone with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, again, thank you to John McClain out in Houston talking about Eric Murray. We're going to talk of a couple offensive linemen coming up in the next 35 minutes or so. I want to start down in Tampa. J.C. Allen is with Bucks Game Day. That's part of the Sports Illustrated umbrella. About Robert Hainsey. Now, Robert Hainsey is a guy that started all 17 games at center for the Bucks in 2022. Started all 17 games for the Bucks in 2023. Quite frankly, he lost his job to their first-round pick, Graham Barton, out of Duke last year. Hainsey only started one game in 2024. Yet, Liam Cohen, who was with Hainsey in Tampa in 2024, obviously thought enough of him to give him $7 million a year, including, over $10 million guaranteed, to come to Jacksonville, and it would appear that Hainsey is going to be the center here for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, let's talk about him. Let's talk about why he lost his job last year, and let's talk about why Liam Cohen brought him to Jacksonville. J.C. Allen, Bucks Game Day, is one of our guys in Tampa. Here's the 411 on new Jaguar center, Robert Hainsey. Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, what a free agent period it has already been for the Jaguars. 9 guys so far at the time of this, anyway, have been, agreed to terms. They're not official until Wednesday at 4 o'clock, but have agreed to terms. And Liam Cohen is going to have a little company coming from Tampa, as center Robert Hainsey is one of those 9 that has agreed to terms with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's go to Tampa. One of our guys when it comes to the Buccaneers is J.C. Allen of Bucks Game Day, and J.C.'s always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. J.C., how you doing?
I'm doing great. Actually, just got back from the Bucks cruise, which was a good time down there in Key West in the Bahamas. So, and came back on free agency day. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I imagine that cruise was fun. I got a family cruise coming up at the end of May, and needless to say, I'm counting the days down. But still some work to do before vacation. Certainly free agency is one of those times in the off season. All right, Robert Hainsey. We know that he started every game in 22. He started every game in 23. He then, I guess, lost his job to rookie Graham Barton. Yet, by all indications, he's a guy that Tampa Bay really enjoyed having down there.
Yeah, Bob Hainsey, he's a really good player, strong player. Played tackle for Notre Dame. They moved him inside, kicked him inside at center behind Ryan Jensen, and he's come on. He's one of the most cerebral minds in the NFL. You talk to anybody in the locker room, talk to centers around the league. They mentioned Bob and his smarts and his ability to get everything lined up correctly, everything called out correctly, identified, make the line calls. He's going to do all that for you, and he's going to do it well. So the Bucs would have liked to have him back. Obviously, Hainsey wanted an opportunity to start after you said losing his job to Graham Barton. This is more of a size thing. Bucs want to get a little bit bigger up front. It had nothing to do with his skill or anything like that. It's just they wanted a bigger center, so they got a bigger center. Hainsey actually played a game for them as Graham Barton was out this year and had one of his best games as a pro. So the Jags are getting a guy who's a smart, cerebral-minded center, make all the calls, and he's also going to help Liam get all the guys up to speed with the new system as well.
Yeah, that's the interesting part because, like we said, he started 34 consecutive games in 22 and 23, but Liam Cohen wasn't there in 22 and 23. Liam Cohen was there last year when Hainsey was the backup center to Graham Barton. So are you surprised that Cohen kind of went this route? Obviously, Cohen sees something in him.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, if you're around Bob, you know how smart he is. You know, he understands the game. Every season he's been working on his body. One thing that you could say could be a knock on Hainsey is his lower half. He can struggle to anchor against some power rushes or anything like that, but he is savvy and finds ways to win when it might be a mismatch. And again, I mean, he was their starting center for 2 years. The Bucs made the playoffs 2 years in a row, won the division 2 years in a row. He's a winner. He comes from a great culture, a culture that's going to be established there. So, Cohen, when he's looking at building his offensive line and bringing guys in that he knows are team guys, character guys, culture guys, and that's what Haynes is going to be. He's going to be a culture driver for Cohen over there, and he's going to be the smartest one on the offensive line room, and he's going to be able to impart that wisdom and that experience in this offense to everybody else and really help bring them along at a faster speed than if they were just going in scratched with all new offensive linemen, no one that had worked with Cohen before. So it's a huge advantage to getting everybody up front because the center is the one that communicates. So everyone on that front five of the starting offensive line, they're all going to benefit from having him there. So the Bucs are going to benefit. The Jags are going to benefit from having him there.
Couple more for J.C. Allen of Bucs Game Day. Robert Hainsey, one of the newest Jacksonville Jaguars. He agrees to terms with Jacksonville to become presumably the starting center here in Jacksonville. And you mentioned Hainsey as far as a leadership standpoint, clearly working with Cohen last year in Tampa. He's going to have to help the guys get up to speed, as you mentioned. And we all know about the leadership role at center. Do you think Hainsey will be able to come into a fresh locker room here in Jacksonville and kind of assume a leadership role?
Oh, absolutely. He's the team that the Bucs offensive line room is one of the most close-knit, tight groups in the league, and he's going to bring that there. And they're all going to. I think he's going to get everyone to gel together and bring everybody again. Because not just on the field, it's off the field, and the chemistry, the camaraderie in the Bucs offensive line is something I'm sure he's going to want to. Again, culture driver. He's going to want to bring that same energy to that offensive line room. So it's going to be, I think, a great fit for the Jags. So you get a starting center who's got plenty of experience. He's seen it all. He's gone up against the best interior rushers in the league, and he can communicate what needs to be done at the line. It's so important for offensive line play, especially when you go to hostile environments where it's loud. Is being able to communicate those line calls to the other guys, and he's certainly capable of doing it. And if they decide to put any resources into the draft, he's a great guy to have as a mentor as well to younger players. He's a guy who knew he was losing his starting job when Graham Barton was in, but was pivotal behind the success of Graham Barton in his rookie year, being, the backup after being the starter for 2 years. But it wasn't a guy who was like, this guy took my job, whatever. He was there putting in the time, putting in the work, and being a resource for Barton. So he's a team first guy, a culture guy, character guy, and he's a heck of a player too.
J.C. Allen, Bucs Game Day. J.C., final question. We got about 2 minutes. How over the moon are people in Tampa that Chris Godwin apparently took a hometown discount to come back to the Bucs?
Oh, deeply. It's been a great couple days. Levante comes back. Now, Chris, you re-sign Ben Bredesen, and then you see the guard market exploding and some crazy contracts being out there. And, for them to be able to lock up Chris for the foreseeable future and probably, the twilight of his career, people are over the moon ecstatic. And it looks like the Bucs have brought all of their starters from offense back. They brought in Hassan Reddick on defense. They're making some more moves. They're cooking up, I'm sure. And looks like they're pushing the chips in for a title run.
JC, we know about Bucs Game Day. We certainly appreciate guys like you and Logan Robinson that join us. Also, tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, Pirate Parlay podcast. We're live on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. I actually have an episode with Cohen on, so if you guys want some insight from Liam Cohen, kind of how he runs an offense, what he'll do, there's an episode from last year that I had him on, and guests all the time, talking Bucs, talking free agency, talking draft. And if you're like me and want to be more knowledgeable about the league as a whole, I try to check out as much stuff as I can. Tune in.
Hey, JC, where can people here in Jacksonville find that on Wednesday, the Cohen podcast?
Well, it was a previous podcast, but it's called Pirate Parlay on the Sick Podcast Network. You can find it on my X page at JC Allen NFL. But yeah, if you go back to the archives in the beginning of last year, I did a full hour and 10 minutes with Cohen, I think.
Hey, JC, appreciate that. Hey, when you get a sec, shoot that to me on social media, and I'll retweet it for everybody here in Jacksonville. Appreciate you as always, pal.
Absolutely.
There you go, JC Allen of Bucks Game Day. And, in fact, I'm tweeting out that link right now where he had Liam Cohen for an hour last year just talking about his offense, talking about everything going on. I think Jaguar fans, you'll find that pretty interesting. Just head over to my Twitter feed at Ryan, or I guess my X feed, whatever it's called. It was called a lot of different things in my household this morning when it wasn't working. But head on over to Twitter/X. I'm tweeting it out right now. The J.C. Allen interview on Bucks Game Day with Liam Cohen from last year. And look, Robert Hainsey is a guy that is familiar with Cohen. It is interesting that he did not start for Cohen last year, except for one game when Graham Barton got hurt. But Cohen thought enough of him, and Gladstone and Baselli thought enough of him to bring him here. And it would appear he's getting starting caliber money. I mean, is there going to be any competition, I guess, with Luke Fortner? I would tend to doubt that. Although it is interesting to keep in mind that Cohen does have a relationship with Fortner as well from their days at the University of Kentucky, for whatever that's worth. But I think today you added a starting center in Robert Hainsey. I think you added a starting right guard in Patrick McCary out of Baltimore. And speaking of McCary, we're going to head up to Baltimore coming up here in less than 10 minutes. My guy Luke Jones of WNST Radio in Baltimore to talk about the Jaguars, one of their newest offensive linemen. So I think you got a new center, a new right guard, you got a new safety in Eric Murray, and you got a new starting nickel, right, with Jordan Lewis. So that's 4 of the 9 that are going to start for you in some capacity, because a nickel is basically a starter at this point. The third offensive lineman, I think, is going to be your swing tackle, which is Chuma Idogba from Dallas. Dami Brown, again, I love the stat earlier. The guy had 5 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown in the playoff win against Tampa and Liam Cohen. So obviously that must have resonated with Cohen a little bit because he brings him here on the first day of free agency. And for a 25-year-old, it's just a 1-year deal. It's a 1-year, basically a prove-it deal for Dami Brown. Now, will that stop you from getting another wide receiver? Probably not. I don't think they're going to go the Cooper Kupp route. So start making your peace with that one. I would venture to guess that's not going to be where it winds up. I think they're more than likely going to draft somebody. But you have Gabe Davis, Dami Brown, Parker Washington, and obviously Brian Thomas Jr. You're going to add, to me, minimum 1 more, whether in the draft or in free agency. But again, I don't think that's going to be Cooper Kupp. You added 2 tight ends today for less than half the guaranteed money in the price that Luke Farrell got in San Francisco. And, hey, good for Luke to get paid out in San Francisco. But good heavens. I mean, the Jaguars got 2 for the price of 1 there. And then the backup quarterback to me was weird. I was thinking Kyle Trask from Tampa. They went with Nick Mullins, who has familiarity with Udensky, right, from his days in Minnesota. So I guess maybe that makes sense. But that to me was an odd one. Again, the one question I have, the Jordan Lewis signing, what does that mean for Jarian Jones as far as the nickel spot? Obviously, it means either Jarian's going to be your starting corner or he's going to be your 4th guy, which that's certainly something to monitor here as we get it deeper into free agency and certainly into the draft. But anytime you add 9 guys, you probably bring in 4 starters and you don't have to pay a king's ransom for them. And you bring in quality guys that have started in numerous locations and other NFL markets, I don't know how you can necessarily be mad at that. And I get some of you are underwhelmed, and I did a whole sermon to you about that in hour number 1. I don't want to rehash that. But again, I think it was a productive day for the Jaguars. Talk about raising the floor, getting better depth on this football team. I think the Jaguars have done that. And why do I think the Jaguars have done that? Because some of you believe this is like the best franchise ever. They're 5-18 in their last 23 games, guys. So when you tell me how great these free agents are they're bringing in, that's why you're underwhelmed with these guys, and how did they improve the roster? They brought in a bunch of backups. Well, the guys that you had have gone 5-18 in the last 23 games. So I don't think they're exactly there's a lot of room to talk there for the guys that were here. Let's introduce some different. And obviously, James Gladstone and Liam Cohen are under that line of thinking, and that's why they were so active on day 1 of free agency. One of the biggest signings was Patrick McCary, the offensive lineman from Baltimore, a guy that has played literally every position along the offensive line in the NFL. Our guy up in Baltimore is Luke Jones, WNST Radio. Let's find out about Patrick McCary. Let's find out why Baltimore did not keep him. And let's talk about the guy the Jaguars are getting to presumably be their starting right guard in 2025. Luke Jones in Baltimore joins me next on a Monday night here in Northeast Florida. It's Hacker After Dark.
It's Jacksonville's annual March meeting place.
Fascinating people.
1010XL is your radio home for the Players' Championship with live Southeast Orthopedic Specialist leaderboard updates.
From Heroes Lawn Care, Taco Lou, and TopDressing.com.
Hacker here, and as most of you know, I'm now in Awaken 180's free maintenance support for life. 122 pounds gone, and that number on the scale hasn't crept up a pound. I didn't just choose Awaken 180 because of the weight loss. I chose Awaken 180 to keep the weight off. I wasn't going to put in the work, the highs, the achievements, just to watch it slip away after the program stopped. I wanted a solution, and boy, I sure found it. Awaken 180 is life-changing and life-altering. Over 120 pounds down in just 10 months. Now I'm in the maintenance program. I still get the coaching that I need. I still get the motivation that got me 120 pounds down, and I'm not gaining it back. If it's time for you to lose the weight like it was for me, go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com. If I can do it, you can do it. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror? Fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at Dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
When you hear Florida Gators baseball on 1010XL, it's brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators, and Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Where on your body is the weenus? The answer next.
When you call Southern Oak and file a claim, you'll be handled by our hand-picked vendors who will analyze any roof, storm, or water damage. It'll save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The weenus is your elbow skin and can be pinched as hard as you want, and it will never cause pain.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Share a cup of coffee and range balls with Dan, Jeff, and PGA pros. Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Sounds like a lot of club for this young man.
Brunch with the tour.
Brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation, 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Did you know your pup could take 30,000 to 60,000 steps a day at Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard? That's a whole lot of tail wagging fun with their best furry friends. At Dogtopia, they turn playtime into exercise, learning, and socialization in their off-leash, open play environment. Dogs build confidence, reduce anxiety, and stay happy and healthy, all while having the time of their lives. Visit Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard today.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold and silver and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at almost $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
E.T. here, and spring in Clay County means one thing, the award-winning Clay County Fair. It's more than just rides in a concert, it's an experience. Savor the flavors of classic fair treats, explore family-friendly attractions, and enjoy a perfect mix of small-town charm and big-time fun. Plan your trip with Explore Clay County Tourism and turn your visit into a getaway. Find the best places to stay, eat, and explore at exploreclay.com. And don't forget to share your fair adventures with #ExploreClay.
Denny Thompson here. You gotta check out Tyson's Showroom Home Theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I can stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Dick in here, beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get one room Zero Resified starting at $53. Take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com and tell them 1010XL sent you.
Zero Res. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. For the second year in a row, the Jaguars have gone to Baltimore and are bringing in now a former Baltimore Raven. Hopefully this year we'll have a little more success. Patrick McCary coming in, the offensive lineman. Of course, it was Devin Duvernay and Ronald Darby last year. That did not work out very well. Hopefully McCary will be a much better addition here for the Jaguars. Our guy up in Baltimore is Luke Jones, WNST Radio. When it comes to the Ravens, Luke is the guy we get on, and Luke's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Luke, how we doing, man?
Doing well, Ryan. Good to talk to you.
Hey, we always appreciate it. It's becoming a yearly tradition, you and I getting together in March, because the Jaguars go to Baltimore a lot to get Raven free agents. Did not work out with Duvernay and Darby last year, but hopefully this year's a little different. Tell us about Patrick McCary, the offensive lineman that's agreed to terms with the Jaguars earlier today.
Yeah, I mean, I think putting aside the cost, which I think we've seen the early days of free agency, keep in mind, nothing's official until Wednesday, but it's lucrative. It's certainly a market that, you know, the guys that are hitting the market, I think you're seeing paid handsomely. So this is a big commitment for Patrick McCary, but I think the thing that you like and the thing that jumps out about him right away is just how versatile he is. You go and look at his career for the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, this is a guy who was an undrafted free agent out of Cal back in 2019. And if you look at his career track record, he's logged at least 200 snaps at all 5 offensive line positions. Now, this past year, he was the primary left guard. He started out the year at right tackle for the first 3 games. Then they did a little bit of shuffling. They had an injury at left guard. They moved him inside, and he put up well there. Was he an all-pro? Is he a Pro Bowl kind of talent? No, but he's been the kind of guy that's been very dependable. As I just mentioned, you'll love his versatility, and he's just someone that they trust. You know, this is a guy who has played right tackle and moved to left tackle in the midst of the game. This is a guy who's, as I said, he's been a center. He's been a guard. So that is extremely valuable. Now, you look at the average annual value that's been reported. I mean, you know, the Jaguars are paying a premium for him, and I don't know exactly what their plan is in terms of where they want to use him. But again, the versatility, it's so valuable, especially on game day, where, you know, if you get a couple injuries, he's the kind of guy that you can move in a pinch, and he's going to know his assignment. So I think much more so than the couple guys that you mentioned last year that didn't work out. Former Ravens going to Jacksonville. I think Patrick McCary, again, putting aside the compensation level and just looking at the player himself, He's someone that the Ravens have trusted, and there's some irony to the fact that he's someone that replaced Ronnie Stanley on quite a few occasions over the last 3-4 years, with Stanley having some of his injury concerns. Irony is that the Ravens re-signed Ronnie Stanley, extended him, and kept him in town, but as a result, was considered likely they were going to lose Patrick McCary, and that's what ended up happening.
Luke Jones, WNST Radio in Baltimore, talking about newest Jaguar offensive lineman Patrick McCary. And Luke, you alluded to it. I mean, if you look at the snap count over the career of McCary, he's played like over 100 snaps at every position along the offensive line, from left tackle all the way down to right tackle, every point in the middle. Now, here in Jacksonville, again, we don't know what they're planning on doing, but we know they have openings at right guard and center. Do you think McCary's more of a guard than a center if he was going to be, penciled in to start somewhere?
It's hard to say. I mean, he really hasn't played much center since his first couple years when, and this was kind of the beginning of the Lamar Jackson era. The Ravens had a center named Matt Skura who had a pretty catastrophic knee injury, and McCary filled in and did a very admirable job for them at that point in time. Generally speaking, and this is going to sound kind of funny because we're coming off of a year where he logged a career high in snaps and started every game and played extensively at left guard. But in the past, there was a perception that McCary was maybe a little bit better suited for the outside. And some of that was even just, he's not the biggest guy in the world. So, there was maybe some thoughts that there was a little concern about him holding up on the inside. But, hey, he just started 14 games at left guard. So, maybe that perception is out the window. But I think – I'd hate to really say that he couldn't play center because that's basically all he did his first couple years. He's played more guard recently, but going back to what I mentioned as far as just the trust factor with him, you can depend on him to play any spot. Again, is it going to be at an all-pro level? Is it going to be at this amazing elite level? No, not necessarily, but he's the kind of guy that the Ravens have just been able to plug and play with an array of injuries with the year. I've once covered a coach that in the past would kind of talk about, he's the kind of player that you can put your head on the pillow at night and you're not going to be worried about him at all. Patrick McCary fits that description, and again, he's versatile. So I would say, not really a strong preference one or the other than what I had said. That again, going back a couple years ago, the perception was maybe he was better as a swing tackle rather than an interior player. But he's played there a lot, and he's played there well in the past, so there's no reason to think he can't do that moving forward.
Luke, final question. Just, again, the early reaction on social media now that it's actually working. That was interesting earlier today.
Yeah.
Now that it's working, Raven fans seem to like him, seem to be upset that he's gone. Was he kind of a fan favorite up there?
Yeah, I mean, for what I just said, you're just talking about someone who's versatile. You know that you only get 47 active spots on game day, 46, whatever it is. I think it's up to 48 now with some of the rules over tweaked the last few years. But the reality is, you're not going to have a backup at every single offensive line position. So even if he's slotted to start at center or right guard, if you have a scenario where the Jaguars have 2 injuries in the same game, in-game on the offensive line, he's the kind of guy that if you suddenly say, oh, my gosh, our left tackle got hurt, or, oh, my gosh, we don't have our left guard, or, oh, my gosh, we don't have our right tackle, and we lost we don't have a backup for that spot. McCary's the guy that you would probably point to and say, well, we're going to move him there just for the rest of this game. So he's just been a gamer in that way. He's been a no-nonsense kind of guy going about his business. Again, like I said, when the Ravens invested a $60 million 3-year deal to keep Ronnie Stanley, I think there was, kind of a resignation that, McCary's probably going to get, and he's going to get a nice payday, which Jacksonville is giving him that. That's more than the Ravens, unless they had lost Stanley, that's way more than I think the Ravens would have ultimately been able to do given where their cap and roster is. But, this is a guy who, as I said, over the last 6 years was just really dependable for them. And most of that time was as a backup, but because injuries are a reality in the NFL, he ended up playing a lot and typically played at a pretty high level. So the Ravens will surely miss his versatility. And like I said, even the floor for Ronnie Stanley is that you're getting or for Patrick McCary, excuse me. The floor for him is that you're getting a really versatile player who can move around and just really give you a quality depth piece, either as just a starter or just a versatile guy that's, going to play a lot and might have to play at some different spots.
Luke Jones is our guy up in Baltimore, WNST Radio, when it comes to the Ravens, talking about the brand new Jaguar offensive lineman Patrick McCary, who agreed to terms earlier today. Luke, thank you for joining me on short notice, buddy. We'll do it again soon.
No problem, Ryan. Take care.
And thank you to Luke Jones, WNST Radio in Baltimore, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark, as what has been a crazy busy Monday night edition. The Jaguars have brought in 9, or I guess have agreed to terms with. They don't become official until Wednesday, but have agreed to terms with 9 free agents. They've added help along the offensive line, in the secondary, a new wide receiver, a couple of new tight ends, a new backup quarterback. It has been a wild day here in Jacksonville, and we certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us to break it all down here on Hacker After Dark. We have a ton of people to thank here for this Monday night broadcast. Thank you again to Luke Jones, WNST Radio in Baltimore, for talking about the Patrick McCary signing, the new offensive lineman. Thank you to Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, as we talked about brand new Jaguar defensive back Jordan Lewis and brand new Jaguar offensive lineman Chuma Edoga, both guys coming from the Dallas Cowboys. We had one of the legends in the NFL media business, my buddy John McClain out in Houston, talk about Jaguar safety Eric Murray coming in from the Texans. Also, J.C. Allen of Bucks Game Day joined us to talk about Robert Hainsey, the new center here in Jacksonville. We had correspondents in Washington as well, with my man Lionel Willingham coming on to talk about Dami Brown. And again, thank you to everybody that joined us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. We'll be just as busy tomorrow, I'm sure. Also, my buddy Jamal St. of Channel 4 stopped by earlier to break down everything the Jaguars did. Again, tomorrow night, we're back with you at 8 o'clock right here on Hacker After Dark, and we do hope that you join us then. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have a terrific remainder of your Monday evening, and we will do it all over again tomorrow night on a Tuesday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.